Hello YouTube and welcome to episodes 7 and 8 of the Kubikiri cycle, wrapping up the series today. Very excitingly, I think. Last week I was a little bit confused, and we're going to be searching for clarity this week. That's kind of where we're heading. I guess I'll just pop this up now because I'm going to do a quick little recap. Oh, actually, no, YouTube comments first. My mistake, because there's one comment here from Hot Wheels Kid. So let's hop in here. I like Terako a lot. She's a menace. Yeah, she just fucking lied. It threw me for a loop last week for sure. Especially in the reaction, I was just completely lost. I think there's a good image of it on Discord actually that I found quite amusing. And yeah, this is what I like. Not spoilers, just clarification. That's what we always like. That's what people have been doing in Monogatari for a long time. Just gentle nudge in the right direction. That's all we need, I think. So, Ilya has DLLR syndrome, is described in the book as a strong compulsion to cause harm to oneself and others. I think I've heard of this before. I think they use this exact term in the show. So yeah, hence killing the sister Odette, hence the potentially self-harm stuff going on the wrist. That's why we've never seen her wrist, or we have, and then there's some kind of reveal there that we're going to be looking out for. Also, the implication about the maids is kind of in the opposite to Ichan. Ichan is there to help Kunigisa, right, with anything, climbing stairs mostly, but anyway. And Terako implies that the maids are there to prevent Ilya from doing other bad things to other people. So that in a way explains why the maids are always around her. So that's a nice little bit of backfill there on something that was maybe a question. Just Honda Ray, is she the same as the triplet maids, or is she potentially a maid that is going off and being told by Ilya to go and commit crimes? And then, is that what happens there? I would imagine that that's pretty lame for an ending to the mystery. So I think there's another layer here for sure. I'm still keeping in mind the very first scene of the show. That conversation with random lady in water cube. Definitely keeping an eye out for that for sure. And yeah, this is probably a literary illusion that I probably could have gotten if I just thought about it, for a moment. Ilya, Iliad, Odette, Odyssey, sharing three bodies, allusion to the three fates, who share an eye and a tooth. Yeah, that is a pretty classic little literary allusion there, and may imply some things, wink wink, nudge nudge, about where we're going. So, keeping an eye out for it, not going to say anything yet. Cool, and then I've got the Google Doc back up here. I'll just quickly recap episode 6. Again, I'm doing the 2 today. Again, I'm pretty sure episode 8 is twice as long, so we're going to need to break that one down in probably some amount of detail, a little bit greater than a normal episode, right? It is the finale. So I'm trying to give myself as much time as possible and just kind of jump into the episodes, I think. I think that's the best way to go about it. I also have something on later today, which I do need to attend, but I should have stuff rendering by then. Fingers crossed. Either way, so Team 1, which is the main character, Kunigisa, and not Terako. What is her name? Hikari, of course. And so they go back upstairs, and then main character is left to confront Ilya, and they don't really get much. There's a conversation about ethics of murder, which reflects poorly on Ilya, if what the maids say is true, which has 2 people confirming it, so you would think it is true. And yeah, that's why we don't want the police involved, because Ilya's kind of psycho. So heads up about that. There's a long private conversation then between Terako and the main character, involving a lot of lies as well as some foreshadowing about the main character's true personality, which is a little bit darker than potentially we know right now. A lot of the rest of the show backs that up as well in a lot of the subtext there. And we learned some stuff about Ilya's past and why she doesn't want to involve the police, i.e. she killed her twin sister Odette, and therefore if the police get involved, then that'll unravel into whatever else is going on. That's why we're placing our hopes in Aikawa instead. We then have a brief conversation with Maki and Shinya, and Yayoi doesn't really say anything, but she does come back later. And they start to really hammer things out with the rest of the people. There's a big investigation board. You can read a little bit of the stuff going on there. So kind of the implication being that the first case had a locked room by kind of the length dimension, and then the second one had a kind of locked room from the height dimension, and then the next one had a locked room from the fourth dimension, being time, in that right now, from what we know of the evidence, it is impossible for this to have happened. In this process, Hikari also confirms a lot of things about Ilya that Teriko said before, and then Yayoi storms into the room and has somewhat of a mental breakdown, accusing Ilya of eating brains or something. Which I don't think's true, but maybe closer to the truth than I'm willing to admit right now. Yayoi inadvertently gives the main character some crucial information that I have no idea about, something to do with the head choppage, everything above the head is gone. And yeah, I still, mate, I've got no clue. And that makes this exciting. As kind of the reveal to our mystery, I haven't figured it out yet. Kind of with the first locked room, I kind of had some inklings about stuff, but that they were taking a few conveniences with the case, and that was true. Right now, I've got no clue, and that's very, very exciting. I like that. I don't think I'll dive into ideas again too much. Just know that we're looking versus talent, hard work, especially comparisons between the main character and somebody like an Aikawa. Like killing with intent, accidental death, in the name of what is right and just, as a means to an end. What do these kind of deaths indicate? Why is the main character easy to read versus somebody like a Kunigisa? Is there inherent talent there? How is that going to come into the Ilya stuff, right? Because she brings all these smart people to the island. There must be a reason for that, yeah. Is it eating brains? I don't think it is, but it could be. And then, yeah, there's some stuff about Kunigisa and the main character and love and that whole thing, which needs to be sorted out as well. Yayoi's popped a hole in Rei's alibi, so that's one to watch. She was out and about during this time. I had some theory about the main character being the killer. I don't think that theory is true anymore. He wouldn't be trying this hard to solve the murders if that was the case, unless there's something else going on there that I need to uncover. And yeah, the stairs thing will come back. It will return in the end game here for sure, and be an integral part of the plot. Either way, I think it's time to just jump in, and I'm just going to do my shill stuff quickly one more time. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you would like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And yeah, jumping into episode 7 of the Kubikiri cycle right now. Rightio, have episode 7 of the Kubikiri cycle up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen now. 30 minutes on this one, 30 minutes and 3 seconds. So sync up accordingly with whatever version you may have. There will be a picture-in-picture in the description below, as well as using the whatever subs. They do the job, I think. And yeah, we're just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. I didn't make sure subs won. I hope they're on. Is it a bit quiet? End it? I'm on 100%. What are we ending? Oh, Zetsubo? That's very Danganronpa. Okay, sure. As we talked about before, Danganronpa would disagree. Then what's the opposite of despair? Okay. Kibo. Huh. Interesting. Well, that's very Monogatari. By accident or design? Ooh, the red. Of course it is. Not more nonsense. Opening. No. Oh, different opening? Yeah, we're doing opening credits over the top of something else. Weird. No, it's kind of is an opening sequence, though. But we're like putting the plan into motion, essentially, yeah? We figured something out. She's got her coat back. Yep. Hello, maids. Nothing nefarious there. Or karma. Don't know what that is. Oh, yep, we were in that room last episode. Oh, this is even more behind the scenes. Hello. Loves a glass of red. Cutting up some brains there, or? Looked like a different body part, but sure. Yeah, you're not suspect at all. Alright. Is it going to be a round table chat? You look very, menacing. The red lighting, too. Okay, and then when we're naming this episode after the place, Wet Wing Raven. Oh yeah, this is very like class trial. Oh, okay. I didn't ask you though. Ooh, and you're not an expert. Yeah, tell me about Aikawa. Apparently, it was a very brief meeting. Yeah. Huh. The eye. Oh, holy fuck! I agree. She just chucked it to the ground. Oh no! But it is. Who did it? Akari. Sure. Ah, the lips too. I mean, that's true. I'm not sure that's the best way to go about things, though, because rule of threes with killings. If we're not counting the computer as a killing, I was expecting one more at least, you know? Are you going to go calm her down? I don't know. Get your feet off the table. Why? What is happening? Oh, okay. So this was all part of the plan. It did feel a little bit forced, yeah? Oh, yeah, the smell? Your taste is really good, though, right? I see. Is she really the killer? She said Akari, but that'd be random. Whoa! Wait, who the fuck? What? Hello? You look like a Kane. She can't really climb stairs without you, so that'll be at least one problem. Whoa, the animation here is kind of rad, though. I'm very confused, though. But having an unaccounted for character definitely explains the computer, yeah? Well, the green and the red, too. Yeah, that arm's broken. Combat made, by the way. Can somebody please tell me if that's a Kane or not? Because that's insane. I see. So that's Teriko, is it? Yeah, it is. Ha ha ha. Seems very planned, though. You don't get to say it too? Yeah, it's his stick or shtick. Well, somebody shot in the head with a blunderbuss. What happened? Yeah, she brought a gun to a knife fight. Also, that's also a murder weapon. Sure. Ooh, the symbolism. Life, death. Okay, you're really trying to die. Whoa, the pedals too. Okay, if that's not love, what is? Also, I feel so stupid because it isn't Akane. Who is it? Hello, Kunagisa. In tears, too. Huh, yeah, he did go upstairs. Oh. She still did it. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. She chose you, yeah? Yeah. This is a big step for your self worth, yeah? Is she gonna get a bullet in the head? That'd be pretty tragic after this. Yeah, but I think you're failing to see the drama of the situation. What is this walk? Plug walk. Can we turn the lights on? Okay. What is that sub? Hello? Okay, so it's Akane, right? I just saw her head, though. I was about to say, the design is strikingly similar. Are we not going to talk about that? Are we not going to talk? Are we not going to talk about that? What happened with the legs? Where did she get shot, though? Then why did she fall? What is happening? Why? Oh, sure. To protect against Ilya, maybe. Because she's like a cool maid. I haven't really noticed, but sure. But isn't this done? We know who the killer is and why they did it, and that her death was faked, etc. The music here is very muted too. Yeah, can we please talk about what just happened, please, in a little more detail, please? Yep. Mm-hmm. Thank you. What the one person with sense? What? I think she grabbed. She posed one body as another body. Okay. Yeah, but I think she grabbed the Kanami body. Yeah, you kind of foreshadowed that before. Great point. But what about the Shinya part of it? That's kind of mad. Yeah, we only buried the body, yeah? Yeah, so there had to be. Okay. Whatever you say. Okay. I thought so too. Good point. Do you think anyone's going to eat any of this food? Yeah. It's also, yeah, it's answered the question of why Shinya exists as well, because he was just kind of hanging out. Good point. I actually don't know. Yeah, sure. Yep. Oh, and it was dark in the corners of the room, of course. Damn. Would a body smell yet? I don't think it would. I don't have much experience with dead bodies. Can't you read minds? Good point. Huh. I just assumed that they were murdered in the same way because it's called the beheading cycle. Exactly. What if the person that died wasn't the person we thought died? Okay. That's cheery. Okay, evil man. Yeah, please do. Okay, I will then. Yep. Well, yeah, he gave the paint information, yeah? So was it an actual real earthquake? Oh. Yeah, with my big old knife. Yeah, who's on the other end of the phone, yeah? He's standing up. As we figured. Yeah, but that was all in service of faking her own death. Yeah, it was kind of like a perfect medium. That was a great point. She didn't need to, because if she had an accomplice in Shinya, he could have dropped the body through. Oh yeah, how did she get out overall? Yeah, okay, how is she still in there then? Elaborate. That'd be random as. Great point. How though? So tell me how then. Don't tell me how it didn't happen. Just drinking. Ooh, glass of white that time, okay. I'm with Ilya on this one. I'm a bit stumped. True. There was nothing in the room, darling. Come on, pay attention. What do you mean? I don't know. The body? The body itself? So would the body stand up straight like that? Oh, yeah, okay, rigor mortis. Gotcha. Oh, it's also a great platform to stand on. And the window was open, yeah. Just happily eating. Yeah. And a nice level piece to stand up of. I would imagine you could balance on somebody's head pretty fine as well. She seemed pretty active. Sure. That's a big jump. I don't know. I guess you have as many goes as you want. It's weird enough that the body wasn't in a more conspicuous position for that then. Oh, the stars in the background are a nice touch too. Literally as a stepping stone. Okay, that's funny. In both the real and a metaphor sense. I hate art, so I'm gonna kill this person and use them as a stepping stone. What was that random shot of Kunagisa? Like one frame. I can't be bothered. Yeah, I think you solved most of it. Yeah, it all starts to make sense. I don't know. You're all kind of, egotistical sociopaths, right? You in particular. I want to know about Shinya's. Tell me. Tell me, you weirdo. Okay. Hello, Akane. Oh, sure. I mean, that fits a lot more with your character than Ilya's, I'll say that. Especially the whole smarts position of it. But I mean, eat the brain could also be, as I've said before, like a metaphor, right? Yeah. That was a great solution to the mystery that clicked a lot of things into place. It did a satisfactory job. I think the jumping out of the window is a little bit, but you buy it, for sure. Especially, I like the we need a solid platform from the neck, so we have to cut it off there. I like that as a justification for why they did it. That's why I'm buying it a lot more than otherwise. Um, but yeah, did everything that I wanted there. The main characters, they set up a little bit of a trap with the Yayoi situation, and we got some nice stuff from Kunigisa and the main character as well. Clearly, like bringing in a little bit of that side of it. At least now the main character understands that he's been chosen at least a little bit, and now he's projecting a lot of confidence out during the investigation. Um, Yeah, it didn't feel half an hour either, I will say. I guess that's, again, showing them into the mystery, and I want to see how they're solving it. I think their explanation was a little bit long in the tooth, and I think I'll skip over some portions of it when doing the analysis now, but again, we'll see. And yeah, jumping into a quick little relook on that episode there, I think. So I've made the executive decision to not go into the Google Doc immediately as well and just jump into the episode proper. Just because I don't think writing out the plot of this episode before going into the next one is very fruitful, because I'm just going to finish the show today. Suffice to say, I really enjoyed that episode. I thought it was a great little solution to what we had going on. It answers a lot of our questions, a lot of our running mysteries. I understand why Yayoi saying what she said at the end of last episode is very, very important. It's because both bodies had the same characteristic, and we just assumed that it was a copycat killing, but in reality, it was way too similar to the point where there had to be a greater purpose behind it, and that's why I still don't know the Ilya self harm thing. But anyway, we'll get into it. Um, the computer, like, again, our parameters are impossible, right? There's nothing else. There's no like great amount of evidence there, so it had to be something impossible to cause it to happen. Yeah. And I was wondering if that impossibility, again, was the main character smashing it, and it was just from him telling the story and him leaving out details, um, or it was somebody that we don't know about yet. And it was the kind of second option there. Uh, yeah, I think I'm just going to do a quick reread on the episode. But again, it's all very expository, explaining why the mystery makes sense and how it was executed. And I think that's very interesting, but I don't think it's interesting to talk about twice. So I'll see what I can see, but we may just be rushing out to the next one very, very quickly. So yeah, we get these blue explosions, lots of smoke, and we get a pretty out there start to the episode that's very, very heady and overall esque. You know what I mean? It's very all encompassing. Where I was hoping for them to jump straight into some mystery stuff, and we do get there eventually, but it was just very It's a little bit jarring for a start, especially when I hadn't really settled in yet. Once I settled in, I was all right. But end it. End it is in relation to ending the investigation, I'd imagine, right? We have all the pieces, we just need to execute, thus end it. So West Wing Raven is also translates to Russian as deepest despair. And, it's a rather romantic turn of phrase. Perhaps this island was a gathering point for people in the depths of that very despair. As we're going into motives behind Akane and why she did what she did, and motives behind Shinya and why she did what she did, or why he did what he did, I should say. I think this will become more and more relevant. This is clearly the last portion of the story, and this is in reference to the killers, maybe in relation to Ilya. You could extend it in relation to the main character as well. He was definitely despairing at some points. I think he's a little bit more hopeful now because of Kunigisa, and we'll read about his kind of opposites of hope and opposites of despair and that kind of thing here. The opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. And he just really... So talk about, I love Kunigisa. Kunigisa clearly loves me. She chose me in that moment. That is the opposite of indifference, thus love, right? And in that same kind of line of thinking, the main character is clearly apathetic about his own life. He was choosing to die there at some point. And that's interesting, right? It take a lens to self-love to it, and you'll see some stuff too. And yeah, I reread that twice just now, kind of that segment where he goes into like the density and the people trying to make it there and all that. And I think this line down below is probably a good explanation for what he was just saying. Tedious, meaningless nonsense. Maybe a little bit harsh, but I don't see much utility in it yet. Maybe a little bit more of this overall concept of everybody gathering here for said reason and looking for a thing and trying to attain a place will make more sense come episode 8. Yeah, and then we do like a faux opening sequence where all the characters just kind of show off. We're getting ready to execute on what we need to execute on, right? We clearly know more than the room at the moment, and we're going to act out a scene essentially. Kunigisa also has back on the kind of robe, the coat there, the one that she enjoys very much, which is good. Good for her and all that. Clean hair too, shout outs. It's kind of like a face-off. Yeah, we have this team and the other team, and then again, kind of the team that... I'm waiting for Maki to have a bigger role here, yeah? Or did she just simply know everything the whole time and just sipped on wine because she's a bad bitch? Maybe. I don't know. That would make sense too. Again, this is a nice visual, going through that same kind of airlock door and going behind... peeking behind the veil, right? Going to somewhere quiet. Just, yeah, that's what we're doing in the story, yeah? We're going to see behind everything, see how the sausage is made, so to speak. Still waiting for you to factor into it somehow, though, because you didn't do the killings now, so that's good. But you're still looking sus. Still looking very sus. And even to the title of the episode, Wet Wing Raven, as we went into that at the very start of the episode, Deepest Despair, it's clearly one of the major themes, and we're centering that around Akane, right? Again, Akane beheading, losing brain, eating brains, as she maybe jokingly says at the end of the episode, fits a lot more with what she has going on with the academic side of things and trying to progress beyond, and also in that kind of system of the school where it's all very cutthroat and that side of it. Of course, she sees something like this as an opportunity. We're going to dive more into that next episode, of course, into motive, so look forward to it. So this makes sense now as well, right? Ilya starts straight out. She goes to Kunigisa and she goes, "Have you found anything out?" And then Kunigisa's like, just kind of doesn't say anything, and then the main character takes over because they need to execute. Akane is watching this somehow right now, and they need to execute on a believable look at a scene, so Yayoi needs to go out in a panic state, right? I think that's what's going on. Thus, they can't start expositing their actual findings yet because that would ruin it. Shinya's talking smack here like, "You seem to put a lot of stock in this detective. Is he really that good?" Of course you'd be concerned about that considering you're an accomplice to all of this now, right? Also, yeah, we immediately turn the conversation instead of this, like about the other murders we know of, Akane's murder, right? We move it towards the Ilya stuff, which is fresh in our minds, helping us to be more surprised by when the twist actually happens. I think they do a perfect job with this in retrospect as well. I commented in the moment that it felt kind of out of place and weird, and it's meant to. It's meant to be a little bit fake, right? And we're meant to pick up on that as an audience. But again, Yayoi's clearly teetering on the deep end right now. Like, it was enough for me to buy it initially. I was like, oh shit, she's just going off. Did she need to be that violent with the maid though? That was kind of mad. Like, just falsely accusing, is it Akari, of something here? Like, it's obvious you did it. Everyone knows. When, like, even in my brain, I'm like, wait, how does that work at all? Like, what are you talking about? And again, makes sense. It's fake. And of course, the next step, she storms out. She says, I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to barricade myself in. I'm going to lock room to myself and then go die. And then then I'm like, okay, maybe she's the next to die because, rule of threes. We've had 3 cases, yeah, but we haven't had 3 deaths. So I'm like, maybe she actually does die here. Again, I'm buying into this at some point. Then I see the main character follow her, and I'm like, is it happening? But it wasn't happening. No, they had a larger plan in play, of course. I'm going. The rest is in your hands. So I don't know what Kunagisa's role in here was. Clearly, she heard the gunshot and then went up the stairs, but I don't know what she was meant to be doing in this room at this moment. Was she just meant to keep them entertained and let the main character do his thing? Oh no, I see. Okay, no, she jumps onto Shinya, like straight up, like she like Naruto runs on the table and then jumps on him. Okay, yeah, that just went straight over my head in the moment. I just completely forgot about that, and now that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, this is where all the tension of that part goes away. It's like, oh, that was a great performance. I meant more than half of it. That's probably why it felt so genuine to me. Again, still slightly fake, but genuine enough for me to buy it in the moment at least. But is it really true? Is she really the killer? Yeah, she is. So clearly our 4, Yayoi, Kunagisa, the main character, and Hikari are all in on it at this point. The scent checked out, but I'm not confident in my sense of smell. Maybe she smelt the body and was like, wait, what's going on here? Also, the meeting between Akane and Kanami that we set up before. I wonder what that's about now. That's something to think about. Go back to the dining room. It's dangerous here. They're about to walk into Yayoi's room where Akane has conveniently placed herself. And then, yeah, we get I guess you'd call it an art style change here. Kind of a real emphasis on white light and shadow. Kind of brightening up a scene that is deathly dark at the moment. So the first thing we see there, as we just saw, is kind of like the shimmer of a blade, which indicates that, hey, maybe this isn't very safe at all. And then, yeah, he ducks just in time as the blade flies, and then I see this silhouette, and I'm like, whoa! And I'm like, and initially I'm like, Akane? And then I'm like, no, it can't be Akane. That makes no sense. Is it? And then I'm like, maybe it's that lady from the very start and she's been hiding and it's some weird, like, fucking conspiracy or something. But it wasn't. It was just Akane. But I also saw Akane's, like, severed head and that really threw me off as well. But yeah, who else wears a fabulous kind of suit like this and has the long black hair other than Akane? Yeah, and then we see this. I think I noted this part of her character design very early on as well. I'm like, Akane? So very early on, the main character loses the advantage as well. Clearly, she's a way better fighter than he is. And yeah, this is just demented. Look at the eye there. That's great. Again, like, we have a lot of fights in, say, a Monogatari that are meant to be pitch black as well. And I like that we're going kind of a different direction. Monogatari will normally just kind of photo negative the fight. And we're going for a little bit more of a... I don't know. Let me get out the pen. It's very interesting shading right now, at least. Like... There's this level here where most of the light is, most of it coming off the blade, and then there's this level here, which is cool too, like just giving it a bit of 3D depth in that, and then complete blackness, maybe a highlight on the ear, clearly a light source from up here. It's just very nicely done, in a very nondescript, like it's not flashy, but it's consistent, and that's really what matters in the scene. I guess I should talk about what's going on thematically as well. It's a little bit of that line from Terako into... like, experiencing death once, trying to die, trying out dying, it's pretty cool. I gave up so very quickly. Dying here wouldn't cause any problems for Kunagisa. By the end of the scene, we see that clearly isn't true. At first, I thought that she was hesitating here, but in reality, there's another character that we don't see behind holding her back. And of course, Teriko had that conversation about dying, hence she's here, hence she's also Ilya's bodyguard, hence she's very strong. We've seen elements of her strength firsthand. Think about when she pushed the main character into that room. Like, that wasn't a fluke. She's clearly pretty strong and knows how to fight. That was probably the most impressive piece of animation this episode as well. That kick into the hair flick back and the shadows. It's all very nice. And as soon as you see the kind of sword as well, I don't even know what you would call it. It's almost like a machete. Things start falling into place very quickly. Yeah, just a cool fight, really. And I don't really want to break it down much more than that. It's really cool. The lighting changes, the kind of red Akane red versus the green. We know who we're meant to go for in that kind of color analysis of that. But of course, that was a lie. What Teriko was saying before about trying to die or trying dying once, that was a lie. Just consistent with her contradictory character, let's say. Some would say it's kind of obnoxious, but anyway, I digress. Why are you here? It was simply inevitable, never mind just a little bit of nonsense. That's a question. Why are you here? Did you follow him? So in this moment, as we explain later, Teriko also jumps in the way of this bullet after realizing a gun has been fired because her dress is bulletproof, saving the main character in the process. And she says some line here, which we don't get to hear, but sure. And of course, this is when Kunagisa hears the gunshot by now and is trying her best to race up the stairs. And he's happy enough to die here, again, not really heeding the kind of Teriko warning as well. And we start to get a lot of symbolism of life and death, and I'm happy that I was able to fulfill my purpose in helping Kunagisa out in all of this, and I'm not worthy and all that junk. I'd long ago forgotten that I was born. I'd never known what it felt like to be alive. Also, that reference before to him like living in solitude for 10 years, what was that about? Teriko's body leaning against me, we get a little bit of blood, the glass is shattered here, kind of that symbolism. Butterfly into dead pig, into kind of black sludge overtaking. Yeah, it's all very evocative. I like the kind of filter put over the top. It looks very blurry and cool. And then I saw this head and I'm like, oh, well, I mean, it also fits in a symbolism of life and death, but, oh, maybe that isn't Akane? Then who is it? Who is it? Turns out I was just being dumb, but that's par for the course at this point. And yeah, at this moment, he is ready to die, as I've already explained. Nothing else matters. Let it happen. I guess it's a moment in which he is willing to sacrifice himself in the name of solving the case, in the name of helping Kunagisa, lack of self-value, self-worth, and when Kunagisa finally rushes through the door, looking as she does, crying almost, sweating, clearly out of breath, like this took a lot out of her, right? And I believe there was something about walking along coals or something, right? Like really putting yourself out for somebody. And she's clearly done this here. It is the biggest vote of confidence in her genuinely choosing him, in her genuinely liking him that we've seen. He needs to stop being down in the dumps about it. You love her, she loves you. What gives? Are we going to dive into more of that in the final episode, potentially? We'll see. Yeah, this part really got me in the reaction. I thought it was really beautiful. Like the amount of anguish that she has climbing the stairs is really powerful. The music's killer in the background, kind of that main theme almost, that kind of discovery theme. As the main character really figures out his feelings and all of it. It's great. It's probably the highlight of the episode for mine. As well as kind of the investigation stuff and it all clicking into place. That was very satisfying as well. But this was emotional, and I didn't expect to feel that kind of way this episode, and it was good. I still don't really get it. I still don't really get why climbing stairs is such a barrier, but I understand that it is a barrier, and that internally gives the scene stakes, and that's good. Of course, as the main character is ready to die in this moment, why do you continue to put yourself out? Why do you continue to put yourself in danger in all of this as well? Also, like, Teriko's just faking dead here, which is kind of funny. And then, okay, so she's out of breath, calls out for Ichan, right? Akane points the gun at Kunagisa. Even in this moment, it's not self-preservation for her. It's, good, you're safe. So she, in all of this, as we've been very internal to the main character, she's been willing to sacrifice it all for him as well. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And the thing about this show, it's very quick. right? Not Symphogear quick, but still pretty quick. That was like 2 seconds, and it tells you so much about the characters, and I just caught it now, and maybe I wouldn't have caught it if I just skipped past this scene, on a second watch. Ichan finally admits his love for Kunigisa, and then yeah, we head into a segment that I'll probably skip through a little bit more of, which is just explaining things. We like explaining things, but it's not particularly interesting for me to break down. We're using a lot of that same room aesthetic. I like in one of the backgrounds we have some shooting stars going on, but other than that, it's all very red. There's a thing going off in the background, but Ilya talking to the main character. He's explaining what happened to her. It's pretty cool. Oh, wait, this scene goes on a little bit more. The main character gets up and asks Akane not to shoot Kunigisa. And this kind of relates to the conversation they had in episode 4, and this is entertaining enough for Akane to put down the gun, and we're going to, talk it out a little bit more. I'm not just going to shoot her in the head. I don't understand what's wrong with these legs here. Did they get hit by... I watched the fight again. Did they get hit by something, I guess? Oh, is it like the shrapnel of the bullet? Weird. I don't know. This is really weird. I don't know if this sub is meant to be like this. I think it maybe is, that it's meant to flash up a little bit and be like, oh... Because we're meant to be teetering on if it's Akane or not, right? But, again, once it's finally revealed, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, makes sense. I don't know, just a weird way to do it. And then, yeah, this is a real, I guess, non sequitur of a scene. Just like a really, like, calm, deep breath moment after that really tense, emotional, high stakes, reveal, climax, everything. We just get a scene of, they're cleaning up scars and stuff, and then we're going to dive back into the same room again. Just a very, very weirdly placed scene. It just made me very confused. I'm like, but what about the rest of it? Huh? I don't know. It worked eventually, but it just threw me for a loop in the moment. So Akane was on the karate team. She even went to nationals, but Akane also in turn has some broken ribs and a broken arm, courtesy of Teriko. And Teriko, it may have looked like she got shot in the back of the head and blew up and killed, but no, bulletproof dress, as we explain. So in all of that, she protected the main character too, which is kind of rad. And of course, it makes sense for maid uniforms to be bulletproof, considering what we know about Ilya. Yeah, this is a big question going forward. Why save the main character? Does it have to do with Ilya? Does it have to do with the next element of the mystery, which is the whole Ilya sister island Aikawa situation, right? Which is the other big plot thread we need to resolve. Are we going to get into why Teriko did what she did and save the main character? Yeah, and then we cease that kind of deep breath scene. Kunigisa's hair's changed, and then we go right back into the tense stuff, and we see that a certain person is in chains. First, this is a good touch too, like reusing that bear thing from earlier kind of round table scenes we've seen previous. And then yeah, there's Shinya. Shinya was an accomplice. Everybody, I knew that he was in the show for a reason, right? We're going to get more into motive soon. That'll be an interesting one to look at for sure, especially for Shinya. This is pretty fun. So Ilya says, "What's all this?" The main character literally says, "The murderer is Akane. Her accomplice is Shinya. That's it." Well, please make this at least half an hour. Episode is just on half an hour. It's pretty nice. And yeah, Kunigis is calm in it all. She's just kind of letting him go. You can kind of see it in the background, just like gnawing on some meat sometimes too. Like, she's just keen to let the main character do his thing. Alright, so this is going to turn into me just explaining things. Okay. As I explained before, the Yayoi situation at the start of the episode was a ruse. It was to bait Akane out, and then we were going to send the main character in her place, and once that happened, surely she was like, something's up. That's not who I expected to be there. And I think that the plan in all of that was the main character was happy enough to just let himself die in all of it, right? Or maybe Teriko was always part of the plan. But no, that couldn't have been right, because we queried that later. Was the main character just expecting Akane to be an easier fight than she was? And then it turns out that she'd done karate, and maybe that was good information leading in. I don't know, weird one. We get into the next element, which is, why is Akane alive? Akane never died. Akane used the Kanami body that was conveniently wrapped in a sleeping bag as a huge part of her ruse, right? As a huge part of making it look like a copycat killing when it really was the same body used twice. And of course, the two biggest clues to this, as we've seen throughout the episode, are the neck, the cut being the exact same cut, as well as the computer being destroyed and nobody else being able to destroy said computer. Shinya was the one that took kind of control of the situation when burying Ibuki Kanami. We just thought that was because he was the attendant and it was just natural. But when Hikari comes out the next day with, for the same body with a different apparatus, it's like, well, you clearly just had that on hand. That's a little bit weird. Why are you using that and not the stretcher? Weird. Of course, they're kind of blaming Ilya here a little bit. She set up the perfect kind of situation for something like this to happen. Like, you have a place where police can't go, so I'm going to execute murders here. It just makes sense. Kanami's body was already there when Hikari was dropping off the things for Akane. That just makes sense. The bit that's a little bit of a mad one is how she uses the body to jump up out of the ditch. I think that's kind of mad. I think this was an interesting moment as well. Just Maki giving a thumbs up to the main character, like, you're doing great, sweetie. Like, I think she clearly knows a lot about what is going on already, and is just kind of like, when you have that level of forethought, you're kind of you turn into a little bit of a sociopath, right? You turn into you're a little bit nuts. You don't really care for the human experience of it all, right? Human experience is not knowing, is discovery. If you already know everything, then potentially you're a little bit fucked in the head. So she's just like a strange third party to this whole affair, just like, watching. It's like a good drama for her. That's why she has a glass of wine. She's just kind of, again, just watching. Interesting character, Maki, for sure. And then we get into the computer smashing. The computer smashing was about the photos, especially of Kanami's corpse. If we saw that the corpse and the cut were the exact same, the proportions of the body were the exact same, then that would cause pause for sure. I'm guessing Shinya saw them taking photos and then tipped off Akane to what had happened. I think that's what happened, yeah. So part of Akane's plan the whole time was to go dark, right? Was to pose as one of the victims so she could murder with impunity. Apparently she was planning to kill everybody, as Shinya pipes up here. The main character kind of asks Shinya, now that he's able to speak, to start explaining some stuff, and he's like, no, that's your role here, your job. Just kind of egging him on, being a little bit fucked in it all. It's cool. So the biggest mystery that I hadn't kind of uncovered in the first case was the phone. So on the phone, he wasn't talking to Ibuki Kanami. It was an indicator to Akane to start to do her thing, and the kind of paint spill was Shinya's idea to make the locked room, right? That's why he said it aloud. That's how he was trying to fool everybody, right? And Akane's on the other end getting the information that that's how the scene has to look, and thus we have the locked room. That's why I'm like, the information about the paint is very important. That's why I was sussing a lot of people in the room, kind of leading me down my main character theory. But no, the thing is, the person on the other end of the phone was also somebody in the room, technically, getting that information. I'm guessing there's some stuff, like, we had a quick discussion about this phone when we were investigating that scene. I'm guessing there's something with that in how she couldn't have used it, but I didn't really grasp that, no. So the earthquake, he saw like the kind of wine spill, and then he thought of the plan on the kind of the spot. That's kind of mad. That's kind of insane. And we're right to suspect Akane at the time, right? Because again, she was the only one that had an alibi. But again, as a person watching the piece of media, I just thought that this was a coincidence, and I thought that I bought all of it, basically, right? I think that's a good mystery, kind of multi-layered, right? Where you're like, no, that's too easy. And then it was too easy, but for reasons you didn't expect. I think that's good writing. And it's that perfect mix. It's not suspicious enough that we're sure she did it, but like the locked room is still kind of sus. You know what I mean? It's that perfect balance of, I think it's too obvious that she did it, but a lot of it clicks into place, right? And then, of course, she wants to get locked in the storeroom so she can execute the next part and go dark, and then execute as many killings from behind the scenes as she can as more and more people start to panic. How did Akane get into the storeroom? I'll spare you guys. She done one jump off the chair, done one jump off a rigor mortis Ibuki Kanami body, if I can speak, and then that falls and somehow falls in the perfect place where it looks realistic, and she's out scot-free. This is where the episode's pacing suffers a little bit for mine. So Ilya suggests a bunch of things that it could maybe be, and then we have the main character just shooting them down. So, like, it could be a rope ladder. And I was like, it's never going to be a rope ladder. Why am I even watching this, right? To me, it doesn't really add anything, and it just elongates the episode kind of superficially for mine. Again, the same situation. We're asking a lot of different characters, what would you do to get out of a situation where something is high? You would jump, and then we're just kind of explaining why the kind of almost triple jump off the ground, then the chair, then the body makes sense. I guess the most interesting part, and the part that really justifies the jumping idea, which would otherwise be ridiculous, is the specificity, words, of the cut. Like, it needed to be kind of square with the shoulders to make the platform able to jump. I think that's a nice touch, both the head being cut off disguising the body and also being used as a platform. That's pretty cool. And we have Akari kind of freaking out here too. I wonder if she's going to go off the deep end by the end. She's seemingly more and more unstable with this whole killing game situation. There's also the idea of Akane literally using a dead body as a stepping stone, which is, I think, literally part of her. Like she's killing smart people as a stepping stone to attain even higher smartness, right? She's either serious about eating brains in the kind of yayoi idea of eating people's brains to get smarter, but which is just like weird and bullshit and strange, or she's literally eliminating the competition to be the smartest person ever to exist of all time, which I think's more real, that she's just a massive egotist. And then we're getting into motive, and that's where we're going next episode. Shinya's motive is the one I really want to know. I think Akane's is pretty cut and dry. And here she is. Akane finally makes her return. She's got a little bit of a, I don't know what you call it, sling on her arm, which is injured. She's clearly in a bad way. We're going to talk motive. She just puts it down to a slight difference of opinion. She doesn't think that her motive is all that interesting in all of it. What matters is actions. However, I wanted to eat your brains. That seems like a pretty important motive in all of this. I don't know if you're being serious or not. I like the light in the background. That's a good touch too. But yeah, I think this is our jumping off point for the next episode, baby. Yeah, ED time. And yeah, I think I'm not going to waste any time. The next episode's long enough as it is. I'm sure we're going to get into some pretty heady stuff based on the rest of the show, so I'm just going to give it a go now. Back again, episode 8. I'll be ready to go. Let me pop that up there. I guess I should say that the last episode was quite good. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't really give a kind of a overall verdict by the end there. I kind of just jumped in. Either way, 42 minutes and 54 seconds there. Bit all over the place today. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Let's jump in. Radio. 3, 2, 1, go. Like ice, water? Like a really realistic shot too. Where in the... Who are you? Week's End split. What? Oh, is Aikawa here? Oh. Well, that's nice, but what about the rest? Hello, Ray. What do you have to say in all of this? I feel like we've skipped ahead a little bit. Yeah, go wake her up. Well, I don't know. Was it entertaining enough for her? Okay. Well, it's a bit psycho, but sure. Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh. Hence the scars. Why? I mean, I just thought that she was being sus. Oh, that's kind of cute too. Okay, good touch. She isn't in my experience. She's very good at talking. But she does. But wait. Oh yeah, Hikari also said it was surprising that Teriko talked. Right, okay. Okay. Hello, Ilya. But when did they switch, though? I don't know, I just thought that she was being weird. Oh. Good point. Again, I just thought that they were being weird. When? Oh, and that's why the alibi doesn't make sense. Okay. Yeah, serving you to the very end. No, because the servant master relationship was switched. I'm wondering where we are. I know we're on the boat, but what happened with the Akane situation? Yeah, but are you like mad in the head? Yeah, exactly. I got it. Exactly. It's like a Mickey Mouse table. What is that? Kunigis is just chilling too. That's funny. Okay, you seem less psycho now. I think that's a good question as well. I don't know. I mean, she is just eccentric, right? I don't know. I don't think they were looking for it either. Well, what happened to the rest? No. I think we have different novels to go do. I do. It was confirmed by two of them, and they have no reason to lie. What? But that makes no sense either. You what? 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 Well, she had no scars. So they were just lying? Why? Huh? You mean there was nothing? There can't have been nothing there, right? Bro, that's kind of fucked up. There was nothing? That's crazy. That's the biggest twist yet, I reckon. That's crazy. Family? Oh, like a place where you belong on the island. I don't think you'd be good off there. You know, I mean, Ilya still kind of set up a situation where people just like die. The red Fantasia? Oh, the background is mad. What the hell? I didn't expect this to be where the last episode went at all. Okay. Is he me? Don't cut class in college, guys. Don't know. I think the backgrounds are insanity. They're really evocative. I'm not sure they're good though. I don't know. It's freaking me out. Oh. Okay, fair enough. All right. I thought that she was a little bit down in the dumps. Uh, yeah. Are they in prison for murder? Oh, so we just let it go. But she's a murderer. She murdered people. Okay, keep them away from me. They're murderers. Okay, but what about motive? Why is she a murderer? Who is you? You look like you're from Pokemon or something. Mummy? Sorry? Mummy? Sorry? Why? He'd be into it though. What is this voice? Give me a million guesses for the episode I wouldn't have said this. I mean, what did you expect? Oh, she's cool though. The red eyes too. Oh, Aikawa. Oh, I know Aikawa is a name. She's cool. What do you mean? There's kind of a blue and red thing going on. Yeah, okay. I got that much. Oh, yeah, you are a consultant. I remember. Whoa, okay, that shot's mad too. Oh, yeah, because she was hired. These are great. I love the. That's great. Pissant little job. This is cool. This is way more leading in than I thought, right? To something else. Did you still get paid though? Because money's important. But looking at that car, maybe you don't have to worry about that. Ah, look at the road, please. I thought we cleaned it up pretty good with the whole Kunagisa part. Nice handbrake turn on a mountain. You're insane. Yeah, the murder. There is only one. Well, two if you count the computer. Call me June. Oh, well, Ray used it all the time, which wasn't Ilya. Why? Elaborate. I want to see if they bother me as well. Well, motive for mine. Like, why did Shinya want to do what he did? Yeah, that's probably the biggest one. I was just imagining, like, previous relationship. But the only thing we found was a meeting between Kanami and Akane. Okay, this really works visually. I think it's very important considering a whole, you know, there's a series. Oh. Oh. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Does he hate irreplaceable things? Well, secretly he was maybe harboring some of the same destructive feelings as you? No. I think you need to peer into yourself a little bit more. Okay, I mean Aikawa's like living up to the billing at least. Yeah, that's a great line too. No, I think it's more metaphorical than that. Oh, great idea as well. Okay, why? Nope, it's the watch. Well, you wanted to get to the end point, which was correct, but you're ignoring a lot of the context. But she doesn't. She has a photographic art thing going on. No, it's a coincidence. We can't be having that. Yeah, I got the same vibe as well. I like this too. Kind of the drive-in theater. Well, I don't know what it is. Jun. Humanity's strongest consultant. Oh. Yeah. No, it was only Shinya that mentioned it, right? What? Wait, she did mention that nobody else could be around when she paints. Was Shinya the painter? No, I'm not very artistic either. Because I was told. I don't know. No, but like, I mean, I've been told you're a consultant, but I've never seen you consult anybody. Unless this counts. Yeah, and the sketch was like mid too. I just thought that were the facts. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But why? In the purpose of what? To get to what end? Oh, we just drove through the screen and we're on to something else, and there's northern lights for some reason. Well, I would imagine that her servant paints. Yeah, but what? What is going on? I agree. What? Why? I guess she said she had a real hatred for Akane. They didn't. Okay. Weird. What was that meeting? Is that what the meeting between Akane and Kanami was about? And for what purpose? Exactly, yeah. That's what I would have thought as well. But when? That's kind of mad. Why? You most certainly can. Especially if everybody else isn't all that familiar with the other person. Weird. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know what to believe anymore, man. You could just be lying to me. Probably not, no. Well, Ibuki Kanami is still at large then. Okay. Until she died. We love the ER3 system. It doesn't seem fucked at all. Yep. And they were just fucking around until she found out she died. I like this too. Like we're seeing how the sausage is made. We're literally seeing filmmaking, you know, as we're learning everything. Yeah, that's kind of insane. Yeah. I don't know, just for shits and gigs. And now we're at the F1. Okay. I don't know, just because dying's not cool. Sure. I just wanted to switch it up and did it in a real batshit way. Well, of course, Aikawa understands everything. Implying that he doesn't. Shed skin. It's kind of mad too. Of course. I wouldn't have imagined it. Yep, okay. Right. Yeah, so that's why she was even kind of happy with what had gone on. And if she killed everybody, then there's no witnesses. She can just do it now. Sure. We've been driving for a while, just all throughout history. Oh, so even you were playing a part in their plan. But I mean, killing everybody would also be fine, right? So you thought you were smart, but no, they were operating on one level above even now. That's crazy. And also kind of unrealistic. And it all comes crashing down like the cars. That's a great visual. Why? Please tell me. The genius to end all geniuses, the ultimate genius. Vectors? Sure. The opposite of you, who's average as. Okay. Thank you, better detective, for telling me everything. Yeah, that was my other question, too. But isn't there a background that. Weird. So she was just the whole time. Sure. I grew legs. Oh, shit. What about Maki? Did Maki just read everybody and know all this? Yeah, Akane. Right. Yeah, again, what I just said. I said that. It was my line. Maybe that's why she was so entertained. She's like, these, all you fucking people don't even know. Yeah, I think that's her character. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Especially, like, from the very start of the episode, right? With the whole Ilya thing. Okay, okay, scary redhead lady. You did pretty good. But you can get better. Yeah, exactly. Investigate the whole damn mystery. Don't just give up. Okay, mummy. What about Kunigisa? Okay. You're very charming. What do you mean? I've been like depressed. Oh, she's cool. She's got like Gurren Lagann glasses. Why is it at a volcano? Because what else are you going to do? Tanteda. Don't call me a weirdo, weirdo. Why should... What is this? No. What, and explained everything to her? I don't know, just for shits and gigs. Done. You live for Kunigisa as well. Yeah, it was. It really tossed the whole thing on its head, didn't it? I feel like I got kind of mugged as well. I agree. If there's one word I would use to describe all of this, it is nonsense. It's entertaining nonsense, but it's nonsense. Whatever you say, I don't know what that triangle is. Oh, interesting shot of Maki, sure. She does tower over the whole thing, right? I think she's very interesting for overall stuff in the series, right? Because, like, hey, this detective, she's really good at what she does, right? But Maki just knows. Isn't that what's the difference there, you know? Yeah, the genius to end all geniuses. Hello, Kunagisa. You kind of got shafted in this last episode. We haven't really seen you. But, okay, contradictory. Like water volcano contradictory as well, right? Ugh. Keep it in the bedroom. Yeah, I mean, you guys were both like the servants. And he was an even bigger simp than you were. No, you just took a few shortcuts. It was okay. You didn't get the full picture. Every puzzle has an answer. Okay. What are you alive for? Just in case. It's a very weird way to look at it. The insatiable want for the truth, or something. I think Kunagisa lives just because she likes eating food. This man's climbing Mount Doom. Oh, there you go. It wasn't that dramatic. The metaphor cleared away. Let's go up to her room like that one ED, and she'll be happy to see you. No. Go up and see her. Whatever you say, I think you still have too low of an opinion of yourself, especially based on what Kunagisa did for you in this situation. Good. Turn back around. It is ultimately just a mindfuck, right? There's the red Fantasia. The red Fantasia. Do we get to see Kunagisa? Please? No way. We don't get to see her again? That's a little bit sad. Oh, that was a mindfuck. I don't even know how I'm going to start to talk about it. First, I just want to confirm some things, right? So the first thing we see in this episode is a huge time skip, and then the mystery that we thought was the mystery the whole time was actually just fucking fake, and there was nothing going on there about the whole Ilya side of it, and she was just nice and like set up this weird game because she was bored. And then we leave, and then we get abducted by Mummy, Red Mummy, and she tells us that the person we thought was Akane has actually been Kaname, and the real Kanami's now dead because they switched spots, and Shinya's a simp. And the way we learn that out is through the watch idea, because that was a mistake. But it was also a mistake because it was an uncharacteristically weird mistake, because the rest of it was all set up for us to be dancing on their palm because this is what they wanted to happen and get away with it scot-free and actually just change life. There you go. You can imagine this ED is what's happening right now, right? You'd think so. I saw some feet going up the stairs. Oh, back to back, huh? Sure. Oh yeah. So the ED was most definitely that then, right? Like literally the playing out of the main character going up the stairs and Ilya noticing that he had arrived. So how does the series continue? I'd imagine we get ourselves into a different case with different characters and that kind of thing again. I don't know how you can top that for being complicated, because that was very complicated. I thought I was on top of it. I thought I was doing a great job. I wasn't. I wasn't at all. Yeah. Again, I don't even know how much I want to talk about this, because I just don't really like. Well, I do get it, but a lot of me talking through the episode will be me talking about the same thing, like just the revelations, reading them out like a checklist. I guess I'll highlight some visual stuff that I liked. because there's no continuation here. It's a weird one, right? Where I think a lot of the reveals are cool, but I think if I was ever going to continue with Zaragoto and read the novels and do that kind of thing, I'd just read the first book again. So I don't know. Definitely interesting though. Not what I expected. Sure. And that's it. And I think I'm going to get up. I think I'm going to have something to eat. And I think I'm going to come back and write something, and we're going to have a talk about it. And then I'm going to look at some visual stuff of the episode, and then we'll wrap things up and give overall thoughts. Just because I don't find going back through that whole 40-minute episode and just explaining everything scene by scene to be very pleasurable, right? I just think that's weird. So yeah, I'll be back. I'll see you in a sec. And I'm back. I'm going to do something different, as I kind of foreshadowed in that ED here. I don't think it's worth it for me to just go back through and be like, this reveal was insane. So I've just written down all the reveals, basically. This is essentially what the episode is. It's Aikawa coming in and telling us everything about the mystery. Kind of what I've been predicting the entire time, in a way, right? Where, it was always going to be something like this. I just thought it would be a face-off between these two to see who figured out the mystery the best, and as it turns out, Aikawa smashed it. The main character just didn't consider some certain things, or it didn't sit right, and they got lazy and just assumed that they were right for the right reasons, and that wasn't the way it went. The start off here. The episode didn't go in the direction I thought at all. Let's all cards on the table. I thought it was going to be something like Aikawa was going to show up and try to vouch for Ilya, or in some way, and then the Ilya situation is going to get out of hand, and we're going to figure out that whole business, and the police are going to be called, and we'll save the day, and we're going to go off and do more detective mysteries between these two, Kunigisa and the main character, and that was going to be our ending, I thought. And it was going to be a very complicated way of explaining all that, like similar to the end of a Danganronpa game, basically, where we're just going to explain everything, and we're going to get out of it somehow, and there's going to be some semblance of hope. And there is here. There is some amount of hope, but it's different kind of hope. It's hope saddled with we have no clue. It's way deeper than we thought, man. It's way, way deeper. I think I used the metaphor earlier in this series. If you're familiar with the Danganronpa series, I said that, it gets really complicated towards the end. V3, the ending of V3, has some complicated shit. I think we're even beyond that now. This is insanely complicated, and I hope I do it justice explaining it here. If you go back and watch this season again, there's certain stuff that must just stand out to you like a sore thumb, yeah? Like that conversation between Akane and the main character is now very interesting, considering it's a conversation between Ibuki and the main character, and I'm posing as this character and doing all this, and I'm trying to convince the main character to be pushed in a certain direction. I'm already got him dancing on the palm of my hands. There's that side to it. There was the brief talk with the real Akane, who was posing as Ibuki, who died. That would be entirely reframed now, especially the way that kind of Shinya wasn't really doting over her, again, because it's not the real person that he cares about, right? It's all a little bit fake there. That's cool. I guess I'll just jump into my points, but it's just insane. It's insanely complicated, man, and that's and just as evidence, I've written like a couple pages of stuff. I know it's like pretty big text, but these are all points I'm going to extrapolate on as well. Okay, so Ilya and Handarei had switched places. There was some feeling around this based on the kind of self-harm scars, which turns out aren't even real. But anyway, because there would have had to have been something weird there, and it kind of gave the main character a little bit of pause. I'm like, okay, there's something going on there. There's some kind of revelation there, right? And we use the evidence of we walk into that one scene and we see that Rei is sitting on the couch and Ilya is standing up. Again, they didn't expect visitors, therefore they don't need to act like servant and master. Therefore, the person that's the master, posing as the master, is now acting like the servant, because they actually are, right? And also Ilya providing a perfect alibi for Rei, apropos of nothing. Just thought that maybe they liked each other, or, like good friends, that kind of thing, right? Turns out no, roles have been reversed, and there was some kind of obligation for her to protect her master in this case and not let her be locked away for not having an alibi.
And this is only like level 1. This is level 1 of how deep we're going, right? So this is all well and good. That's fine. Still doesn't mean that Ilya's not bad. It still doesn't mean that Ilya hasn't gone and killed people before and blah, 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 all this other kind of bullshit that we don't call the police for that reason. But no, the maids, and by extension Ilya, had been lying about the whole sister self-harm scenario where she killed the sister and been self-harm, and the maids had to protect her from everybody else and all that jazz, and the maids were potentially all in on this ruse as well. It's revealed by the lack of scars on the arm. So it was just a bit of game. It was like a fun game, right? That she put together. Hence no police. Hence it was like a weird murder mystery by the elites to satisfy themselves. But there was actual real deaths of people, and we just gonna sweep it under the rug because we're rich. And yeah, that's a little bit weird, but sure. Either way, like the fun in games is they're just gonna let it play, right? Because at any rate, if they're going to go for Ilya, either the murderer that being, right? That's all well and good because Ilya isn't Ilya, and that's fine. We're going to let Handa Ray stand in the way of Ilya. That's all. That's all well and good. And Aikawa is always sitting there at the end of the road to solve the mystery if the characters on the island can't. So again, we're all playing into the game a little bit there. The episode takes a turn, so we see some pretty mad backgrounds that I'll get into at some point when I'm finished all this text, where Jun Aikawa shows up and abducts the main character and essentially explains the rest of the plot and the hidden details, kind of some stuff with the case that just kind of didn't sit right. The main thing for me was the motives. We didn't really go into that at all, and it turns out the motives are extremely complicated, but there's also little parts of the mystery that just hadn't been solved yet, i.e. why did Ibuki Kanami and Akane know each other? Why was the watch a relevant thing? And a bunch of other stuff, right? There's little inconsistencies everywhere, and it just didn't sit right. I think that was a really poignant piece of dialogue when it's like, you can't be satisfied with that main character, right? You can't be, right? Because I'm not, and I'm kind of in the main character's shoes right now. It just made sense, right? So, the main point of the climax was to go into motive, and it's complex, right? Let me try my best here. In basic terms, using this entire killing game as a scenario as a means to change who you are, to change your identity, and not get the police involved or the law involved or do any of that, right? Using kind of Ilya's above the law rich person status, the kind of Akagami corporation stuff going on. So we're going to try to kill off this person and become somebody else, and in the process, be even more smart and do all that kind of. I'm like the ultimate genius. I can take on the role of these people. The other party thought it would be a bit of fun, but it wasn't actually a bit of fun. It ended up with them being dead. So to do this, we need to build a mystery, right? We need to build a mystery that is obvious enough, like for the clues to be solved by the main character in Kunigisa, but also feel like they're smart enough clues to where we feel like we're actually winning. We're making progress. And that's us reading the novel as well, or watching the piece of anime, right? Where we need to feel like we're winning as well, and we're not just dancing on the palm of the hands. And I think Nishio Asin, and by extension Shaft and the production team here, have nailed that aspect. I didn't feel like there was a greater conspiracy going on really the whole time, and that is exactly how I'm supposed to feel. That is very well done. So here's a few things that it explains. It explains the previous meeting between Kanami and Akane, as I mentioned before, where they just kind of switched around for shits and gigs. I'm guessing they pitched it to the original Akane, right? Because we want to become Akane. Yeah, that's been the purpose of what we have going on. So he pitched to the original Akane, and that person as an academic, as Aikawa kind of explains, they're just kind of down for that sometimes, just down for a change of pace. And yeah, that's what happens, right? I still don't know why Kanami, or whatever we're calling Kanami, because it's implied that Kanami wasn't Kanami before she was Kanami as well, based on the leg thing. Why do they want to be Akane? Is it just to be like the smart academic person now and try that out for a little bit? I don't really get that side of it very much. But sure. So yeah, I don't think the real Akane, the one who died, knew what they were getting into in this regard, right? Which is a little bit sad. They kind of took advantage of that situation. And again, a lot of things fall into place with our interactions, albeit very small, with this Akane, right? You kind of bought this whole artist's artist idea from her, even though it was kind of basic and weird. I was just like, I wasn't really used to the anime yet. So in retrospect, a lot of that stuff, like, it's kind of weird. It doesn't feel like a real artist would be talking like that. And again, it wasn't a real artist. It'd be a very, very interesting scene to rewatch now that I'm thinking about it. It also explains that a lot of the obvious evidence that was given to us, the show has the example of, why did Shinya just show up with a sleeping bag? Why were the locked rooms so very specific, so very prototypical of a mystery? Why did they smash that computer when they did? It had to have put us onto the right track that it was impossible, that the people that we knew in that scene could have done that, so it made us think outside the box, and thus the main characters figure it out. Think about it. It also means that it hasn't been a team up, which would be a little bit weird between what we know between Akane and Shinya. It had always been Ibuki Kanami and Shinya working together, just they had swapped spots, of course. So Shinya's role in this is essentially someone that's just like a real simp for the real Ibuki Kanami, again implied to have maybe some stuff going on before that, kind of reflecting the main character and kind of the darker side of where his devotion to Kunigisa could go. I think the main character is aware of that, consciously maybe trying to step away from that, but still goes in anyway. I think that's what a lot of the kind of last scenes as he's hesitating. We have this like large scale disaster imagery as he's just walking up to Kunigisa's like house. So that's explaining a lot of that. It's that inherent choice of devotion to a person and the dark path it could lead. There's definitely that side to it. There's probably more going on. There's always more going on in the show, I will say. The whole legs issue is weird with the Konami. They kind of wash it away with like the idea that Konami and Shinya could have done this in the past, i.e. they were somebody else before taking on the role of who they are now, and they're just kind of going through genius level people, genius level artist they were before, and they're ultimate genius by the end of it all. That's kind of what we're getting at, I think. I also went back to the very start of the show, and the main character had been talking with Aikawa the whole time. Okay, and I think we implied that this happened kind of after the fact, before we jumped in, kind of replaying that time at that island. So that's very cool upon recollection. I think in the first episode I may have called that character Mummy as well, and that is also the first word I went to when I saw Aikawa's actual character design. I think eliminating color in that scene is a great way to obfuscate things, if I can speak. And yeah, I guess just keeping going on trucking here, Maki is such an interesting character in all of this. I love her inclusion in the story. So, again, much like Monogatari, and Nishio-sen seemingly has a penchant for these kind of things, this is a character that knows everything. This is a character that doesn't need to participate in the story the way we need to participate in the story. They simply can just exist and watch, much like an audience, but an audience that knows all the answers. So she's just been knowing all of this the entire time, sipping on a glass of wine, just watching it all happen. It must all be very entertaining for her, but also there's that level of sociopath to it, of not involving oneself in human affairs anymore because they're so beyond the human need to make decisions and participate that kind of way. Very, very cool. I think is one of the best touches in the show, including a character like that. Especially, like, it's just funny. She's just sipping wine, watching people die, watching people freak out, all the while basically knowing what people are doing. Again, she has some weird foggy stuff with Kunigisa. I'm wondering how far that spreads to other characters. Maybe can't exactly read Akane, but it could at least read Ilya and Ray, and knew that side of it, which is very, very cool. And yeah, we're left with something that most certainly lives up to the Zaragoto name, in that it's very complicated, almost bordering nonsense, but I think there's some amount of a good story in there. It certainly is a mindfuck. It certainly probably isn't for everybody. It is very, very wordy, especially this last episode in its kind of double length. It's practically half an hour of it is a conversation between the main character and Aikawa in a car going through various locations. So yeah, maybe into some production stuff now. I'll just get up the different view. Yeah, here we are in the episode itself. I guess this is just going to be me talking when I see some cool production stuff, and I'll just skim through. Where in the Who Are You is a very interesting first quote, though. That's a good touch. Kind of back on the cruiser, not continuing from where the scene left off was such a crazy touch as well. That was mad as. Definitely threw me for a loop. I like the background here, kind of reflecting the background in the kind of roundtable discussions we had going on before as well. I think that's kind of neat, as well as Kunigisa just kind of sleeping through this revelatory conversation. I think that's she just kind of snoozes and eats. Like, she doesn't really do much. She's good with a computer, and she does like do some mystery solving sometimes. But other than that, she's like a pet more than anything. Yeah, in the end, it turns out that Honda Ray had been sus for a good reason, because it wasn't Honda Ray at all. That's why she had some smug smiles. That's why, because she's just having fun with it. That makes perfect sense and kind of, backs up a lot of my suspicions there. She wasn't the killer. She was the mastermind. Very, very different. This is an interesting part as well, kind of offering to become part of their little family, stay on the island, continuing to do their little games and that kind of thing. But they ultimately refuse and get on with their life, and I imagine get into more different mysteries based on there's 5 novels, potentially 6. I don't know. Yeah, kind of refusing that place to belong and in search of a different one doesn't feel right, and I agree. And then we get these backgrounds, and we see them quite a bit throughout our driving sections as well. They're just kind of insane. Like, I don't know why you would pick to do it. It's very grainy. Like, you can almost like fucking touch how fucking thick it is, and sepia tone almost as well. Like, it's just insanity. I don't know. I have never seen anything like it. I really haven't. And as I explained in the reaction, I think it's evocative, but I wouldn't really call it good. I don't like looking at it. It's kind of ugly. But is that also kind of the point? Is this how the main character sees the rest of the world? Potentially for sure. And yeah, from what we've heard, Akane, who is actually Ibuka Kanami, who actually may be something else, and Shinya are off doing whatever else. They're living a secluded life, retaining their reputations, right? Are they going to do it again? Are they going to turn into somebody else and start another mystery and do it that way? But I don't know. Are we going to invite you and Kunigisa again? I don't know. I really don't know where we're going from here. And then we see this character design. Upon seeing all the color in the character design, it's just killer. Like, I just want to be with her. Pause. But kind of as well. The glasses are a great touch. I said it reminded me of a Pokemon design, and in that it's really out there. Kind of that those gym leader designs go kind of crazy. Something about the glasses as well invokes a little bit of Squirtle Squad, maybe. If we're and kind of the are they stockings? Are they boots? Are they like thigh high boots and like a little bit of a cape going on too. The collar, the kind of necklace, the car. It's all just classic. It's very classic, isn't it? Yeah, and she's really the star of this episode. She has most of the dialogue. She's the entertaining presence on screen. Knocks it out of the park. Really want to see more of the series to see more of her and what she may get up to. I don't know. So she abducts the main character, reveals that this is actually the Aikawa we've been talking about the entire time. I don't know about you guys, but I assumed it was a dude. That's on me. And yeah, Jun wants to be called Jun. Only people that kind of are my enemies call me Aikawa. That's an interesting line as well, in that we see that what is this, right? Hang on. Because Ray would have been Ilya. Ilya calls Aikawa only called by enemies. Does that imply some stuff about how Ray actually feels about Aikawa? Right? Where if Honda Ray was ever able to speak about Aikawa in any greater detail, then maybe that being Ilya would say Jun, right? Because of how much I'm just enraptured with them, right? Or is that just me projecting a little bit? I don't know, because I feel like maybe there's something going on between Honda Ray and Ilya where there's a little bit of jealousy potentially. Tell me, please correct me if I'm wrong there, but that would be kind of funny, right? Just based on that naming convention. Get ready to spend the rest of the episode in the car where we visit various different locations, or overall, like, it's a very visual identity to the episode, which is a lot of just revelatory dialogue. And we needed it, right? We can't have them doing something boring. The episode would be tedious and terrible. I wonder how much of the visual stuff is just from Shaft and how much of it is included in the light novel. Again, I've never read a light novel. I understand that they have some images, but it isn't like a manga, right? You can't copy visual elements kind of page for page. So I'm wondering if how much of this is source material, how much is new stuff. So bridges, tunnels, colors, like cities, aurora borealis, just whatever random bullshit we can put in the scene. And I'm guessing it does have some semblance to what's actually going on, but it's entertaining, and that's all it needs to do while you're enraptured in the mystery. Again, it's a longer episode. It was 42 minutes. It still flew by for mine. We visit also various world locations. I think we see Machu Picchu at some point. We go to various towns, cities across the world as we continue to just kind of, explain things. We're just going to explain the entire mystery, why the characters did what they did, but again, I've talked about that already. This is cool, kind of that background again mirroring. I think this is a better use of it, because kind of the texture on the background, the kind of low quality of it, works a lot with the rain, the kind of streaky nature, along with giving it like a real movie star feel, especially with the car. Like, we're going to see how the movie is made, which we'll see a little bit later, as we're pulling back the veil from the mystery itself. We're also seeing how the mystery was made and how we were fooled into thinking what we thought was the mystery was actually the mystery, and there was actually like 3 or 4 more levels to it. More and more with the movie theme. We're now at the drive-in, right? We're rewatching old scenes, right? We are now in the same level the characters in, where we were the audience watching this on screen the first time, and now we're pulling back that one level further. That was actually, you were being fooled that whole time. This is what this visual is saying, and I think it's very clever. It's also rad how they drive through the screen and smash it. It's just cool. It's really, really cool. I kind of wish this show was a little bit longer to expand on some things. I think you could definitely make this into 12 episodes pretty easily and then split them up a little bit better, I think. And go into these details a little bit more. Really, really start to explore that. One of the biggest indicators as well is that Ibuki Kanami and her like genius level talent just remembers everything. So of course the watch wouldn't have been... It would have been an indicator that it wasn't the real Ibuki Kanami, right? And Ibuki Kanami having that reputation as an artist is probably on the basis of this genius level person kind of taking over their... You know what I mean? Because, like, it's insane that somebody would have this many talents and be able to project this amount of thing, and now they're seemingly slotting into this kind of ultimate academic role very well as well. It must be an insane level of genius is what I'm getting at. Yeah, this scene as well is very interesting in retrospect, especially where they're sitting, why they're sitting, and, all that. Yeah, and now we're figuring out some shit where our minds are expanding, and that's where a lot of the visual language goes too. Like, look at this, it's all very trippy. So this stuff, right? So it looked like we were driving by the night, the huge moon, all that kind of stuff. We're here, this level of the scaffolding now, we're even beyond the film. With the car driving on its track, very old Hollywood kind of designs for movies and practical effects and that kind of thing. Great visual element for, again, pulling back the veil and discovering the mystery. I think it's very well done. I should talk about the music slightly in this stuff as well. It's pretty well done. I like that kind of main theme we're using a lot in this show. Very catchy, very kind of like revelatory, right? Where we're learning something. And it could have played constantly this whole time because we're just learning new shit. So right, we're now in like an F1 race as well at some of these points. Also, I don't even know where this is. Yeah, everything comes crashing down in the background. That's a lot of what we're getting at here. As well as just looking cool too. The fact that Aikawa can do all of this without like visiting the island and getting all this information firsthand is kind of insane. That we just got this secondhand information and she still figured it all out. A very good detective, for sure. And then, yeah, we give gentle praise to the main character. You did good. You just got a little lazy at the end. I'll give you, like, a B. She's kind of, like, grading his work. I think that's kind of neat, too. And then we use this volcano as our visual element leading into the climax as the main character is coming to terms with returning to Kunigisa and doing that side of it, right? I think the implication is that he went to the bookstore to buy something for Kunigisa that entire time, and that the detective character Aikawa picked up on this and was this whole journey, this whole like huge, like dimension spanning journey around the world, like living 100 lifetimes at once, has just simply been the trip from the bookstore back to where we were visually. Just that's how far our brains have expanded in that short time. I think that's very well done. And yeah, this volcano is kind of our ultimate hurdle there, our last thing getting back to Kunigisa. The main character there as well, he says he feels like he's been mugged, which isn't too far from the truth. I feel the same way. Like, I've kind of been cheated, but in kind of a cool way. It's a way that makes me want to. I now know what the series is capable of, and I would approach a second entry with a little more nous than I currently have, especially around they kind of lampshaded characters swapping positions a little bit, especially with the twins and the kind of beheadings and stuff, right? And then it's funny how that finally comes back one more time. I think that's pretty good writing. Very Nishio Sin for sure. And I think approaching a new entry with a different point of view based on this would be interesting. Seeing if I could maybe get that one more level up, maybe like the main character, and figure it out all on my own. So yeah, we're kind of on that boat, crossing the water, but then eventually falling into the water, and then drifting down into the volcano. But as we get to the bottom, as we think we're going to burn away, we still stand up and we still continue. It's all going to be okay. We may feel like the world's ending, but it's fine. I think the most interesting part of this, and something that probably more people could speak on more authority here, is how similar Shinya is to the main character. And I think that'll be a going on of the rest of the series. If these characters return, you would imagine they would, because they've kind of set that up, how Shinya reflects the main character and their relationships to the various people they're simping for. Yeah, despite everything, I fell into the lava, but I continue to climb back up out of the mountain. I continue to climb those stairs. I continue to get better. Despite people operating at such a higher level than me, I'm getting better as I continue on. You know, it's time to keep on living. And I think that's a lot of the climax here as well. A lot of the main character's thoughts on things. Like, kind of walks away from Kunigisa going, oh no, I'll go tomorrow. Damn it, I got to go back today. Very, very important character move. Like, no, I know what I have to do. I have to do it today. I have to, reconcile things. Apparently, Kunigisa had been quiet for a little bit as well, so we're going back and we're checking on that. Good character stuff going forward. Not perfect yet, but making steps in the right direction. Hopefully, with a little more self-confidence in Kunigisa choosing you, which I think is something we learned last episode. And yeah, we again, climbing the mountain, climbing the stairs, right up to here. And yeah, into the ED. The ED also kind of acts as the answer to what happens when he gets to the top of the building, because it's Kunigisa just kind of messing about, and then she hears the bell go and runs out to, go meet him, as we've seen in the ED a number of times. And then, yeah, inexplicably, we see like the opening play with some credits after it as well, which is just a little bit weird. But sure, kind of padding that runtime a little bit even. And yeah, I think we're going to leave it there. So some overall thoughts on the Kubikiri cycle. I think it's an anime adaptation that definitely suffers compared to its source material from what I've heard. But I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's quite good. I think there's some interesting visual stuff going on, especially for latter period Shaft, that is a little bit underrated for sure. Like there's some decent stuff here. I think we are at a level where, like, it's extremely complicated. Nishio Sin wrote this when he was very young as well, which is insane. Like, I'm struggling with this watching it. Can't imagine trying to write it at a younger age than myself. Like, that's insane. I think the anime adaptation could use with a little more time to flesh a few things out. We definitely just kind of blur out the plot at the end, but that's kind of in service of our greater message of we thought we solved it, we thought we did it, right? But that was only one level. I think that's kind of, we get this better detective pulling us across the journey as well. I think it's all in service of that a little bit. But again, I feel like a few of these ideas could have been expanded upon further, making those revelatory moments hit a little bit better. IMO. But overall, I'm fairly positive on the show. I would recommend it to other people. It's probably not one of my favorites. I'd probably compare it to a middling season of Monogatari, or arc, I guess I should say, where that's still really good, by the way. Like, Monogatari is amazing, so, like, if you're at least as good as the baseline of Monogatari, you're pretty good, right? I feel strongly for a few characters. Now I'm really into Akane. And in the short time we've seen Aikawa as well, I'm really into that. Maki is so much fun. I hope she returns in whatever form going forward in the story, if I choose to go and pursue that part of it. I'm not sold on the main character. He's still a little bit, he's just kind of there. But again, that's purposeful. Kunigisa's fun too. I like Kunigisa. So yeah, that's enough good characters for me to chew on. I wonder how much of the cast returns in future entries. Of course, you're getting different characters. They're doing different things. But yeah, just on the good timer meter, right? If we're just talking about that and not talking about any of the technical aspects or story aspects or any of that, did I enjoy sitting down each week and watching Kubikiri Cycle? I most certainly did. It kept me engaged. I constantly felt like the episodes flew by. So that must have meant the kind of mystery of it was somewhat engaging for sure for me to, look forward to doing that. There has been stuff on the channel where I'm just like, come on, let's get through this, where this wasn't really like that at all. And yeah, I think I've said it a couple times now, but I would be keen to reread this in novel form as well as check out some other stuff. I do like me some mystery. This certainly is a unique and complicated mystery. Mind blowing in some aspects for sure, and I'm wondering how you keep that up for 5 books at least. I don't know how many there are. I think I've seen up to 5 translated, so I don't know. So yeah, any recommendations for that on the Discord? How best to approach that situation would be great. Again, I don't really have much time for reading with the whole channel and working full-time situation, but you can sneak in some reading before bed most days anyway. Just, at least at some level, I think knowing what happens in the first book, at least on a base level overall, would be enough to get me in and be able to read a translation like that and be able to engage with it like that on that level. You can't really contentify it, so it would be for my personal enjoyment, but I think I enjoy these kind of mysteries enough for me to pursue that. So yeah, 2 thumbs up. Good recommendations, guys. I liked it. And next week, we will be jumping into the first episode of Review Starlight, which I know a few people are excited about for sure. If you're somehow watching this, Review Starlight people, and want to give me any pointers on subs or stuff I should know about the show before going into it or anything like that, then Discord is your place to do that. Just, at me in general or something. I don't know. And yeah, I guess I'm signing off. This was good. Thank you for recommending it. I didn't even know this existed, and now I'm intrigued. Intrigued for sure. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you would like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord, love Discord. Discord. And yeah, adios for now. If you were watching my channel just on the base level for Kubikiri Cycle, that's cool. I really think that's really awesome. And I hope you stick around and check other stuff out, because we have a lot of fun here and we talk about lots of different shows in this kind of level of detail. And yeah, glad to have you around, I guess. Yeah, goodbye. I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you for watching, and cheers. We'll say cheers, sure.